Hello my YouTube subscribers. Today we have interesting stories. First story. Title: Am I the A for emasculating my husband? I'm currently on maternity leave with our second daughter. Due to a tough delivery and being new at my job, my leave was extended to 90 days, ending next Friday. Lately, I haven't felt much desire for intimacy. This also happened after our first daughter was born 3 years ago. Because of this, I haven't been very responsive to my husband, who really values physical closeness as a way to show love. Things got more complicated when my husband, Derek, suggested I stay home instead of going back to work. We both make good money, but I earn more as a corporate lawyer than he does as an engineer. He thinks if he gets a promotion and we cut some costs, like daycare and a nanny, he can support us all. At first, I said no to his idea. I'm about to get a promotion at work. Derek knows how important my career is to me, just like I respect his career goals. I told him with both of us possibly moving up in our jobs, we could give our girls a better future. He asked me to think it over more and tried to be close, but it felt forced and I turned him away, even from just cuddling. He ended up sleeping in the guest room. After a tough night with the baby, I asked him why he wasn't helping more. I was shocked to see him crying and shaking. He said he feels left out and less important because I make more money. He feels useless in our family, which really hurts him. He managed to pull himself together and went to work, but he was really cold. He didn't even say goodbye or eat the breakfast I made. He hasn't answered my texts or calls all day. Later, my mother-in-law called asking why Derek showed up at her place to stay the night. She was worried something bad happened between us since he didn't talk to her about it either. Update: 2 nights ago, Derek and I had a tough talk, and he ended up getting really upset. He spent that night in the guest room and didn't come home the next night, instead staying at his parents'. I only found out from my mother-in-law. I was upset by his behavior but also wondered if I might be at fault. I'm currently on an extended maternity leave and have a chance to become a senior associate at my law firm. Derek, an engineer, and I both earn a lot, though I earn slightly more. He's always supported my career, and while he's not as involved in parenting our 2 daughters, aged 3 years and 12 weeks, he's very helpful around the house. Last week, Derek suggested I shouldn't go back to work after my leave ends next Friday and instead become a stay-at-home mom. I initially thought he was joking. But he kept bringing it up, talking about getting a promotion, saving money on daycare and nanny costs, and making other financial adjustments. I still didn't think he was serious. 2 nights ago, he mentioned it again along with traditional gender roles and how it would benefit our daughters if I stayed home. I was put off by his words, and when he tried to get close, I rejected his touch and even a hug. That's when he went to the guest room. I had a restless night caring for our baby. The next morning, I found Derek visibly shaken and crying. He shared that he felt unnecessary and less of a man. He left for work without saying much and didn't return. This morning, he texted an apology for his outburst, promising a talk tonight. He asked me not to call and his texts have been very short. Some people might see Derek's behavior as a big warning sign, but he's usually supportive and helpful. His recent outburst is not typical for him. Comments from others have made me think that maybe I've been neglecting his needs a bit. His main way of feeling loved is through physical touch, but since our first child was born, my desire has been low, and it stopped altogether in my last pregnancy's 2nd trimester. We've tried other ways to stay close. Advice from others suggests I shouldn't quit my job, and I agree, that's off the table. Some think Derek might be having a mental health issue. I haven't really checked on him properly, which might explain his breakdown, though not his suggestion about me not working. I'm not exactly seeking advice, but I'm hopeful that our talk tonight will help us address our issues and consider therapy. Final update. Many of you pointed out that Derek might have been swayed by red pill ideology, and it turns out you were right. He had a discussion with his parents last night, and this afternoon my father-in-law called me to check in and to share some insights from their talk. He noticed that Derek was echoing sentiments from Manosphere videos and confronted him about his recent media consumption. He also criticized Derek for acting tough but running to his parents over a disagreement, which he deemed inappropriate since Derek should be with his family. For some background, my in-laws are quite traditional. My father-in-law worked in trades and my mother-in-law was a secretary before becoming a stay-at-home mom. They are active in their community and raised their children with strong values, encouraging them to pursue careers and seek equal partnerships in relationships. I've always gotten along well with them as I fit the kind of partner they hoped for Derek. Derek returned home early this evening, full of apologies and admitting he was misled by harmful content. However, I sensed his remorse wasn't entirely genuine. I chose not to confront him directly but instead asked him to express his true feelings and the extent of his sense of neglect. While some of his outdated views on gender roles might have been influenced by the videos, it seemed there was an underlying issue not being addressed. We agreed that both of us would start individual therapy and also seek couples therapy to stabilize our marriage. Derek promised to avoid any more outbursts, and we decided that I would return to work after my leave ends. I remain cautiously optimistic about our progress. Derek seems committed to making compromises, although I'm not fully convinced about his remorse. The situation remains delicate. Second story. Title: My husband is bleaching my houseplants. I've always had a passion for houseplants, a love passed down from my late mother. I've cared for many plants over the years, some quite expensive and precious, including a beautiful 5-leaf Monstera albo that my sister gifted me for my birthday. But over the last 6 months, I noticed a disturbing trend. A third of my plants suddenly died, and it wasn't due to common issues like poor lighting, inconsistent watering, or nutrient deficiencies. This morning, as I tried to salvage the Monstera, I noticed a bleach smell in the potting mix. The only other person who could have access to my plants is my husband. When I finally confronted him, he initially denied it but eventually admitted to secretly adding bleach to the water I use for fertilizing the plants. I was devastated. He couldn't explain his actions, nor did he apologize. This betrayal has shattered my trust in him. I feel unsafe and consider whether counseling might salvage our relationship, even though it seems I would have to arrange it myself. Part of me wants to end the relationship, drastic as it might seem, given that we are married and share a child. We live in a townhome that I own with my sister, a family inheritance. My husband has his own space there, and there are no plants in his areas. After our conversation, I needed space and spent the night in my daughter's room. Today, I decided to text him for a clearer explanation, as he often communicates more openly through text. Update: my husband's admission over text about not always poisoning the plants, claiming I deserve to be knocked down a peg, has led me to a decision. This isn't just about the plants anymore. I found a drawer in his office filled with my daughter's missing toys, which he used to lecture her about responsibility until she cried. It seems he was setting her up to fail. After discovering this, I've decided he cannot stay in our home. My sister, her husband, and his father helped me change the locks today. I've told my husband he's no longer welcome but can come to collect his essentials under supervision this Saturday. The trust and safety within our home have been deeply compromised, and I am now taking steps to legally separate from him. The overwhelming support and insights from others have been incredibly helpful during this unsettling time.